cities are nonetheless adapting to become more resilient, with places like Paris, Tirana, Bogota focusing on creating higher quality urban space and neighborhood, more flexible, public space, fostering interaction and available even in times of crisis without necessitating long trips. The second impact is a demand impact. The slower economic growth and higher unemployment expected post-COVID, the use of home-based work for a growing part of the population, and the mode shift will certainly alter the volume, the timing and patterns of mobility and the systems we plan and design. The third big impact we see is a shift towards thinking about building back better. A growing number of countries are emphasizing healthier and greener mobility solutions, supporting a full decarbonization approach over the next 20 to 50 years. For example, proper planes, full network redesign, walking and cycling networks have become essential components of resilience, competitiveness, and quality of life. Cities like Lyon in France intend to launch a 2,000-kilometer cycle network by 2026, including a 250-kilometer structuring express cycle network, as well as a metropolitan walking plan. The same is happening in India with the Cycle for Change challenge. We also see a growing focus on electric mobility in all its forms, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, buses, e-fleet being the first movers in that field. The fourth impact is a realization that public transport needs to be reimagined. We all know that public transport and its workers have been an essential lifeline for our cities. Even when the systems were down to a trickle, a mere shadow of themselves, they ensure the movement of essential workers. There is no doubt that COVID had a very deep impact on public transport worldwide, with a drop of up to 95% in traffic during lockdowns, and even today, ranging from 15% to 70% reduction during the recovery phase. Nonetheless, cities that have had a historic policy of encouraging public transport usage and proactive policies to make public transport safe during COVID, like many East Asian and European cities, experience a steady public transport recovery by comparison to others that have a lesser focus. So that gives an opportunity for India, where several of the cities are still experiencing a drop in traffic of anywhere between 40 to 50%, like Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, to look at where to go next and how to create the kind of quality of public transport services that would meet the expectation of users and reassure them on the question of safety. The fifth impact is certainly the deep financial shortfall on public transport, and in particular bus services that happened during COVID, and calling for immediate government support and rethinking of the overall urban mobility funding based on efficient performance-based contracting. When you combine lower passenger demand and low vehicle capacity usage, due to social distancing in particular, the fare box revenues have been a fraction of what they used to be. So naturally, public transport has been losing a lot of resources. In cities like Paris, public transport did continue, but passenger ridership was very low during the COVID crisis. And as a result, the metropolitan area experienced a $3 billion loss that was paid in part by the state and will be paid back partly over 16 years by the metropolitan area. But because public funding is very scarce, it's best combined with the efficiency that can be brought through performance-based contracting to private operators, for example, the use of gross cost contract in cities. The sixth impact is a shift towards personal mode. I think all the studies we see show a push towards cars, a reduction of mass transit being foreseen. Those are still very tentative, but they indicate that only with improved quality in chain mobility, walking and cycling, you can really stop those trends that are not sustainable. The last impact that I wanted to mention is an acceleration of digitalization. The crisis has really pushed transport operators internationally to make better use of digital systems for communicating their offerings to their customers to process payments in ways that reduce the physical touch point, and that really often opens a large set of improvement for the system. In summary, urban mobility markets are really going through deep transformative forces. The way each transport solution adapts will shape their role in the decade to come.